My name is Jim Manning, and I'm the author of Patriotism Unhinged, available worldwide through online retailers. What I'm going to do is give you a tidbit probably every time I make a film of something that would ordinarily draw a conclusion. Once the casket had been taken up by the CIA and put into the Air Force One, I told you about how they got down on the elevator later. But what I left out was what happened. I believe that there was no body in that casket. Nobody's seen a body in that casket. In Dallas at the airport, the casket was never opened during the flight back to Andrews Air Force Base, and nobody saw it as the casket was put into the gray naval ambulance, and it was moved around after Jackie and Robert Kennedy got out of the ambulance. They never had it opened. That's how it happened. That's how it happened. While the body was in the air, John Liggett, known in the Dallas area as probably the best mortician, he could do wonders with people that were in wrecks and things like that, make them look really good. He was spirited away from a funeral in Dallas, and he was sent on that plane with all the implements and tools and everything that he might need to make the required steps to hide what really happened to Mr. Kennedy's body. And he was successful at doing that because 16 doctors said that he had a hole in the back of his head that you could put your hand in and no brains. And when he arrived at Bethesda, his cranium was in full condition. There was no big hole. It would be common sense. That's how the body got there, on our head, and had the ability for all these Navy corpsmen to see it and move it around and put it on the gurneys and all that between 7 and 8. I mean, it's just so elementary. I mean, for a long time, I thought the truth would come out, and it wasn't my place to have to bring it out before I died. I've spent close to 60 years of my life enjoying the trip of trying to find out the truth and what is got to be the most important murder case of the 20th century. It's very difficult to do that whenever a government with millions and millions of dollars to fight against you and fight against everybody that finds out anything that's in the truth area. Very hard to make your point. It's amazing how much that you will find in my book. There is evidence that would convict at least 10, 15 people on the assassination. There's evidence that they've spent over 50 years covering everything up, making up stories. And so it got to the point where I felt it might never get out. And so that's why I decided to do the book. I have been so happy with the response with the book and with my video views on YouTube. And I will continue to do that for as long as people are clicking on it. And I think that's the way the word gets out. Through those 55 years or so, I've acquired books that you couldn't find. You wouldn't be able to get them. As far as I know, there's only 2 books that have ever brought up the evidence that you find in my book. And the first one was shut down by the Central Intelligence Agency, and very few people ever really got one. I looked for 4 years to get one, and eventually I found one for sale on Biblio, I believe it was, and I had to pay $300 for the book. Now, I felt that because it was the essence of the truth, that I really should have one, so I did buy it. I want you to know that it's more important to me that the word gets out, and so that's why the YouTube and the book are so important. Through the years, I have met with so many people, some are now passed on, but the knowledge that I've acquired is not something that just popped into my head. It's factual, it's substantial, and it's actually, I really believe this is what happened. It's a real life experience from the people who lived it. And also, if you have bought a copy of the book, pass it around to your family members, even if they're not really that much interested. I tried to write the book so that young people, college-age people who had some interest in it and had never studied it before would be able to very quickly determine that it wasn't as the government said, as the Warren Commission said. So the first part of the book tells how I got involved, and then it mentions 20 people who knew about the assassination before it happened. Then the middle part of the book is all of the evidence that was acquired through a top man at the CIA who had put it all away with the hope of writing a book about it when he was dead. He gave it to another man to write. The man wrote the book, and as soon as the government saw that book was out, they had been sort of dormant for about 20 years before that. They went berserk and acquired as many books as they could. There were 10,000 printed. I can't tell you how important it is that everybody who reads this book will acquire knowledge that is so necessary to make sure that the government can't do this. Young people today don't have any real idea about John Kennedy. You don't see too many old pictures of him anymore. However, he was a sort of a wild man himself, but he really was brilliant, and he stopped several wars, and he would have been able to turn this country into a much, much better place to live. Instead, you had a government that stepped in and took control. And he told them that I'm going to break the CIA into 10,000 pieces. And that was one of the backbone issues, I'm sure, when it came down to deciding how to handle his improprieties with Khrushchev. All of the information that I've gathered over decades has gone into this book. All the people that I have known that are still with us and some that aren't have gone into this book. What they thought, what their studies showed, and it's so important that this information get out. And so I ask you, consider buying the book. If you've bought the book, I want to thank you immensely for that. And I wanted you to share it with as many people as you could, because it shouldn't happen again. It's important to understand what happens when our government takes control and tries to dictate terms. We have people that were never even elected to any office who have caused so much trouble. So that's why it's important to read the book and tell everybody what you read and what you believe.